All right, so today we're talking Switch 2 and specifically a roundup of all of the newest rumors and talk online surrounding this system, one of which comes from what I would consider to be the most credible inside source we've had for Nintendo in 2024, because this individual did tell us that multiple presentations would be moved up to the month of August instead of their typical September time slot. We now know that happened. We, of course, are talking about the very well-known PH Brazil and his thoughts on when the Nintendo Switch 2 will be revealed, and spoiler, it is still this year in 2024, which gives us fans that are hoping for an October reveal yet another strand of hope to hang on to, that we won't be waiting until into the year of 2025 to see what this console looks like. Then we have Paul Gale sharing some of his insights on when he believes this commercial might air, even picking a specific date. However, he makes it clear this is not direct inside knowledge, but rather based off Nintendo's history, but some interesting insight nonetheless. And this is an individual who was actually in a early Nintendo Switch commercial themselves. And finally, there's an interesting rumor floating around that may have to do with a brand new additional feature for the Joy-Cons that come with the Nintendo Switch, and some potentially very interesting functionality baked into these controllers that Nintendo does have patents for, and Sakurai has apparently been campaigning for to be a thing for years and years with Nintendo. So we're going to get on the same page with everything. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And we have to first talk about the likelihood of Nintendo revealing the console this month in October. Now, you probably know the history that yes, Nintendo Switch was revealed on October 20th, 2016. So we are in the same calendar month that Nintendo chose to reveal the Switch all those years back. Of course, there's a lot of arguments from fans that Nintendo's in such a different position now with not having a failing console like they were seeing take place with the Wii U at the time they revealed the Switch pre-holiday season. And the thought process is maybe Nintendo doesn't want to mess up their holiday season sales by announcing their successor console. Now, we've had some comments from Furukawa himself to the contrary of that, saying that this fiscal year is all about setting up the Nintendo Switch 2 for success. They also announced back in May that they would be making an announcement of the successor to the Switch, which is already kind of an announcement in and of itself. You're telling people that your new hardware is coming soon, and I would question why they would make that statement so early in the year if they were going to wait until the entire next calendar year to reveal the console. And most importantly, one of the most reliable insiders we've had around Nintendo news before it taking place this year, PH Brazil, has shared his thoughts numerous times when he was the first person to break the story about an internal Switch 2 delay back in February, when many people thought it would be revealed as soon as March and likely being sold on store shelves during this holiday season. PH Brazil broke the story that there was an internal shift and they would be opting for an early 2025 release instead. And lo and behold, we saw every major media outlet that is credible, the VGCs, Eurogamers, and even Bloomberg's of the world, run with that exact same story and had corroboration with legitimately exactly what PH Brazil heard first. Then we saw PH Brazil suggest that Nintendo had been moving up events that were originally planned for September to the end of August. And we, of course, in that month saw the Nintendo Museum Direct that many people were not expecting to be a thing in late August. And finally, a partner showcase and Indie World presentation combined that we have never seen Nintendo do before. And we know they historically always have a September Nintendo Direct. Well, to many surprise, that was held at the end of August. And we now know Nintendo, for the first time in the entire Nintendo Switch's life cycle, did indeed skip that popular September month for a full mainline Direct. And there's nothing suggesting that we should be expecting another one during the rest of this calendar year, which also feeds into this idea that we could be right around the corner from official Nintendo Switch 2 news. But you can first see PH Brazil's original thoughts that were shared a couple weeks back, and he has since followed this up with some more concrete updated info around it. But to give you context, because they are kind of referencing this post in the next one, he first said, responding to the question, do you personally think it will be revealed this year? PH Brazil said, I would be flabbergasted if not. I have had reasons to believe the reveal would happen this year since the February story, and nothing has changed on that regard. I get that people had their hopes up for this particular September week for reasons that aren't nonsensical, which is the reason why I made those cautionary posts at that time. But there must be some acknowledgement that neither Nintendo nor any credible sources made such promises. People seem to be getting upset over something that they themselves created. There's literally a new Zelda game next week, it'll be okay. Now, his most recent post that just happened a couple days ago was responding to with this question. Good morning, Brazil. So do you think the Switch 2 will still be announced this year? Because like half the people on this thread have already given up. He posts, it's the 3rd of October and y'all are already in need of reassurance. Come on, haha. Nothing has changed since the last time we spoke about this a week ago. I still think it's being announced this year, yes. So take that for what you will. This is obviously still rumor territory, but comes to us from a source that, to be fair, has gotten many things right this year, as I've already outlined. And he's not even committing to a October reveal for certain, but rather just a reveal happening this year. But I am very much in the mindset that if Nintendo chooses not to reveal it in October, we're probably not getting a reveal in early November near the launch of Mario and Luigi Brothership, and you don't reveal it late November right before the Christmas period where people are already doing their holiday shopping and things. And that same thought process would obviously extend into December as well, and I think even into January, because if you think about Nintendo letting everybody go out there and buy their bundles for the current hardware and have a great holiday season and then turn around legitimately within weeks of all of that stuff going down, you announce a brand new successor console, I think they would wait at least until February at the bare minimum, and more likely March if it is to be believed that it's going to be revealed in 2025. So for me personally, October is the last hope for a 2024 reveal, and I personally would have been leaning towards October this whole time. It just seems so strange that Nintendo moved everything around to clear out September for literally nothing other than their already announced Zelda Echoes of Wisdom game launch, which they could have still revealed the hardware before the end of the month and given Echoes of Wisdom plenty of time to breathe. So it was an interesting decision to see them have a partner showcase and Indie World Direct combined following the Nintendo Museum Direct, and then just have nothing happen in September. That's why the internet kind of went crazy and gave up some hope, but October was the time frame they revealed Switch 1, and it's looking like it's still the most likely time frame they could reveal Switch 2. And I personally like next week and the week of the 20th/21st the best in terms of likelihood. Obviously, the trailer would go live on something like a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and we'll probably get something like 24 hours or less notice like we did for the original first look at NX trailer. So we have to watch out for that. But one individual who was actually featured in a Nintendo Switch commercial back in the day, and who is very well connected in the industry and previously had mentioned that while they couldn't directly verify it, they had heard something to the effect of a Nintendo Switch commercial being filmed recently, who is none other than Paul Gale, shared some thoughts over on X about the timeline of when Nintendo may line up filming these commercials from ultimate release. As you can see his thoughts, which read, when asked before when I think Nintendo Switch 2 will be shown off, I said by October 24th, but that I also did not believe it would be dropped right after Super Mario Party Jamboree. For what it's worth, I have it narrowed down to an October 10th reveal. The original Nintendo Switch trailer was filmed on Friday, September 16th, 2016, and 34 days later it was shown off, which was Thursday, October 20th. I don't know if this is the case, but if the trailer for the Nintendo Switch 2 was filmed on Friday, September 6th, 2024, 34 days later would be Thursday, October 10th. Based off chatter here and there, that's my guess. If the system does not get shown off this month, then I am doubtful it will be revealed in November or December, and think that February or even March are more likely than January. As I shared in some previous posts, the timing in which Nintendo reveals their next system is crucial. They need to simultaneously maximize their existing quarters where Nintendo Switch is their lead platform and persuade potential buyers of competing hardware to wait for Nintendo Switch 2. Optimistic me says October, but realistic me has no problem if it's not shown off in March. We've got good games to play now and more on the horizon. It's just an exciting time whenever there is new hardware on the way. So besides Paul Gale's thoughts there are some other rumors circulating online suggesting an October 10th release date. I can't verify those rumors come from any kind of place of credibility, so we won't necessarily discuss them in this video, but October 10th could be the date. It's a Thursday. It's literally like 10 days in the month before when they did it last time in 2016, but I'm not expecting Nintendo to drop it the week of Mario Party Jamboree, which comes out on the 17th. So like I said, next week is actually a likely week, and past that, if it doesn't happen, I think the week of the 20th/21st is just as likely. So there's still plenty of time in October. Not all hope is lost for a 2024 reveal, but pivoting to what kind of feature set we might see included in this new console when it ultimately launches. And this actually does go kind of against some of the accessory manufacturer leaks that we've heard about recently with people who have supposedly gotten to go hands-on with this Nintendo Switch. And I honestly could imagine this maybe being an idea once upon a time, but not necessarily in the finalized console. And we are talking talking about the idea of a scroll wheel left to right, almost computer mouse style, that can click in for your right bumper, left bumper, or R1 and L1 triggers on either a Pro controller, but the claim with this is that they would be on the Joy-Con. I would assume if they're on the Joy-Con, they would also be on some kind of Pro controller that Nintendo will release for their next gen hardware. And while the source for this doesn't have any reliability whatsoever, there were some interesting rumors a while back where a TSA agent that actually uploaded their badge did claim that somebody that worked near the Nintendo headquarters had come through and asked for a private screening because they had something that was a prototype unit in a locked away case that could not be displayed to the public. And that claim was that there was a scrollable R1 L1 type of button on the console itself. We also know Nintendo has actually patented this exact technology, and we have Sakurai actually on his YouTube channel directly stating that he's been campaigning for Nintendo to add this as a feature for many years. And when you play a game like Echoes of Wisdom, you actually see a perfect use case for it, where you're scrolling through all your echoes with the D-pad, and you wonder how much quicker that would be if you could just scroll through it, kind of like you're scrolling down a web page, desktop mouse style. And that brings us to this post, which you can see from Go Nintendo, which reads, "Switch successor scroll wheel rumors resurface. You might remember talk of the Switch successor implementing a scroll wheel into the controller somehow, and apparently that rumor is one that won't die. This time around, a supposed Reddit insider says they've gone hands-on with a dummy model for the Switch successor and that they've seen the scroll wheel for themselves. According to the Redditor Adjacent Adjunct, the scroll control is part of the Switch successor's shoulder buttons. Supposedly the Joy-Con will now have shoulder buttons, a scrolling feature similar to what you see on a computer mouse. That said, these scrollable shoulder buttons can still be pressed down and done so without accidentally scrolling. And yes, for those wondering, you do get a tactile click feeling when you scroll, again, just as you would with a computer mouse. Now, while I like the idea of the feature and I'm absolutely game for it, the big key is, and this post does kind of go into a little bit more detail in its full version, where they mention it's kind of hard to push it initially to get it to scroll. You won't do it by accident, is their claim. And that's really the big key in my opinion, because if you're just trying to use the R1 L1 setup and you feel like you're accidentally scrolling around and your fingers rolling off the side of the controller because of it, well, that's going to be an issue more than a enhancement and new feature at that point. But there is probably that perfect middle ground where it takes just enough force that you have to actively want to scroll that top control button, and it's not happening by accident, but it's also not stiff enough where it's inconvenient to use the scroll feature. So we'll see if Sakurai finally won over on his idea with Nintendo in this iteration of the console. I'm not putting a ton of stock into this one because we have had multiple accessory manufacturers put out reports saying that they've held the console and haven't mentioned this feature. But nonetheless, with it coming from a few different sources and popping back up again, I did think it'd be worth having a brief conversation about to learn about whether or not you'd like to see that feature implemented in a finalized product from Nintendo. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about all the different rumor updates we talked about today. Are you team 2024 for the reveal, or do you think the ship has now sailed into 2025 for that happening? And which month in 2025, if you are team 2025, do you think it happens? And are you hopeful we see any kind of massive controller shifts or new functionality that's not there in the current Switch family of systems today? So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.